In this video, we'll look at example of converting java.util.date to local date time and also java.sql.date to local date. So let's create a new class, new, our class, and class name is convert to date, local date and time. Now let's create public static void main and side public static void main date is equal to new date. Alt enter, it's asking because we have two dates, java.util.date, and now let's create an instance of local date time. Local date time is equal to, we'll be creating the instance of local date time from date dot to instant dot add zone and provide the zone ID, which is our system default zone ID. You can provide any zone ID, but in our case we are providing my computer zone ID, which is my system default. Our system default. Let's move this to the next line. To local date time. So that's how you convert a date to local date time. Date dot to instant, and then provide the zone, and then with a zone with zone ID, which is my system default. You can provide any zone ID over here, and to local date and time. Now let's print it out. So you can see that it printed out local date and time. Now let's see how we can convert java.sql.date to local date because it's a date, so we can convert to the local date. So java.sql.date date SQL is equal to new java.sql.date, and and then we will initiate with system.current time millisecond, and now local date is equal to date SQL dot to local date. There's already a method provided inside the SQL date, which you can convert to local date. And now print it out. Use the south way. Now let's run this example. So you can see that it printed out the date. So that's how you convert date to local date time and java.sql.date to local date.